In 1987, America was grappling with racial division, border paranoia, and a swelling distrust of outsiders. But in the rusted heart of Pennsylvania, a tragedy unfolded that would push every boundary: race, immigration, and love twisted into something lethal. Madison Hart was the name on every news anchor's lips. But the truth behind the headlines was far more complicated, because Madison wasn't born Madison, and neither was Blake Weston. They came from El Salvador.
Welcome back to Once Upon a Voice, where every crime tells a story and every story leaves a scar. If you're drawn to the darkest corners of human nature and the emotions that drive people to the edge, you're in the right place. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe, because the next story might just stay with you forever.
In the mid-70s, civil unrest, poverty, and violence drove tens of thousands of Salvadorans to flee north. Among them were two children, Mateo Villanueva and Lucía Alvarez. Smuggled through Mexico, hidden in freight containers, and passed off as distant cousins of a housekeeper, they landed in Ashford, Pennsylvania, an old mill town barely surviving its own economic collapse. They grew up under false names. Mateo became Blake Weston, and Lucía became Madison Hart. America was never home. It was a mask, one they wore to stay alive. They were undocumented, poor, and constantly reminded they didn't belong. Ashford, with its blue-collar pride and tight-lipped white families, made sure of that. They had nothing but each other, and they clung to that bond like a lifeline. But resentment festered. The way teachers looked through them, the jobs their mothers cleaned, while white kids their age drove Mustangs to school. Lucía and Mateo were angry, and in that anger, they confused survival for love. By the time they were teenagers, their relationship had turned volatile. Mateo, always one step from exploding, began slipping into petty crime, stealing from stores, breaking into cars, dealing just enough weed to feel powerful. He would come home bloodied from fights or trembling from being chased by cops. Lucía tried to talk sense into him, begged him to stop, but Mateo only laughed. "You think the world's gonna hand us something?" he said. "We gotta take it." Lucía started pulling away. She enrolled in night classes at the local community center, worked double shifts at Langley's Market, and buried herself in books about art and psychology. She wanted more. She found it in Jason Whitmore. Jason was white, middle class, a high school senior with wrestling trophies and a church-going family. Lucía met him while working night shifts. He made her laugh. He looked at her like she mattered. And for a while, she let herself believe he could be her way out. They'd meet in the break room during her 10-minute pauses. He brought her cherry soda and sunflower seeds. He asked questions, real ones, about where she came from, what she wanted. No one had ever asked her that before. But Jason, for all his charm, lived in a world Lucía could never fully enter. His parents disapproved. His friends whispered, "She's not one of us," they'd say. And eventually, Jason started distancing himself, publicly dating a white girl named Sierra Caldwell, while keeping Lucía a secret. She found out the truth the way girls in small towns always do. Screenshots, whispers, pitying glances. Sierra had posted a photo of them kissing at a bonfire. Jason didn't even try to hide it. Lucía didn't cry. She didn't scream. But something inside her broke. That night, she stared at the ceiling of her apartment. The same ceiling she'd grown up under with Mateo, the same yellow-stained walls, the same empty hum.
If you're enjoying this story, kindly do us a favor and subscribe to our channel. It is free and won't cost anything, but it means the world to us. We're just a small channel trying to grow. Thank you, and back to the video.
She reached for the phone. Mateo answered on the second ring. He hadn't heard from her in weeks. "I want to scare him," she said. "Make him feel what I felt." Those words were all Mateo needed. On November 10th, 1987, Jason received a message. "Let's talk. Somewhere quiet." They met at Old Slate Ridge, an abandoned steel mill on the edge of town. It was the kind of place high school kids used for drinking or dares, a skeleton of America's industrial past. Rusted ladders, shattered windows, the echo of machinery long gone silent. Lucía sat in her car, windows fogged. Jason stepped into the passenger seat, still wearing his varsity jacket. He smiled like maybe things could be salvaged. She kissed him. Then the back door opened. Mateo stepped out from the shadows, revolver in hand. No mask, no words. The first shot tore through Jason's cheekbone. The second punched into his chest. He gasped, tried to speak, collapsed. Lucía claimed she screamed. Mateo said she just watched. They doused the body in gasoline. Mateo struck the match. Flames swallowed everything. By sunrise, a hunter found scorched remains. The stench of melted flesh clung to the trees. Ashford woke to the news like a nightmare it couldn't shake. Police were quick to act. They traced a gasoline receipt to Lucía, found her fingerprints on the matchbox. A voicemail on her phone. He thinks he's clever. Let's see how clever he is when he's scared out of his mind. Under pressure, Lucía broke. She changed her story 3 times. First, she denied knowing anything. Then she said Mateo snapped. Finally, she admitted she just wanted to scare Jason. Mateo never denied a thing. He confessed without hesitation. I did it for her, he told police. She used to love me. I thought maybe she still did. The trial became a national spectacle, not just because of the murder, but because of who they were. Illegal migrants, brown faces with American names, a love triangle soaked in jealousy, rejection, and violence. Prosecutors painted Lucía as the puppeteer, Mateo as the weapon, the woman who whispered the match into the hand of a boy who still loved her. The defense pushed back. They showed letters Mateo had written Lucía over the years, obsessive, delusional. They presented witnesses who saw him follow her home. One even described finding a drawing of Lucía asleep, left at her door. They argued she was a victim of his obsession, not a co-conspirator. But the jury heard the voicemail, saw the receipts, and they heard from Sierra Caldwell, who testified Jason had been trying to end things with Lucía, but she wouldn't let go. The courtroom was split. One side saw Lucía as a broken immigrant girl used and discarded by a boy who never planned to keep her. The other saw her as a cold-blooded manipulator who played both men until one died. Both were convicted of first-degree murder. Lucía Alvarez, 25 to life. Mateo Villanueva, 25 to life. No parole for 20 years. Jason's mother wept in court. She was nothing, she said. My son loved a ghost. Lucía now spends her days in a state prison in central Pennsylvania. She doesn't speak of the past. Mateo writes her letters. She never answers. Ashford tries to forget, but some scars never fade. 2 immigrants who wanted to belong. 1 American boy caught in the crossfire. And a town left asking, did love really kill Jason Whitmore? Or was it something older, something this country still hasn't faced?
Thank you for watching. Now we want to hear from you. Was Lucía a victim, caught in the crossfire of rejection and racism? Or was she a cold-blooded manipulator, using love as her weapon of choice? Share your thoughts in the comments, because this isn't just a murder case. It's a reflection of a deeper question America keeps asking. Who belongs here, and at what cost? Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel for more gripping, true crime stories. Until next time, stay curious and stay safe.